So once again, I want to talk about our leggings that slide over. And so you would put your leggings on first and then your humpas. And so you would just tie them up. You see how those are? And so quite often, this would be the side. And so we would wear them just like this. And so, but these are Lakota moccasins. And so all of our leggings are different. And so whatever region you come from, our leggings are totally different. The beadwork, the symbology, our adornment, it's always different because it identifies who we are very specific. And that's how important this is. And so we picked up this geometrical design. And so way back in the day, we would do quill work and identify and explain the importance of our plants, the vegetation that we needed to survive on. And so when we moved westward, we no longer had those plants available because we weren't living in the forest. We were living on the open prairie, the tall grass. There was no trees to be seen. And so we needed to rely on the buffalo in order to survive. And so we learned how to harvest new plants like the timsila or cheaka. Timsila are wild turnips. Cheaka are the different teas that exist. And so we understand the importance of the Pejuta Oyate, the plant nation, for medicinal, edibles, drinkables, and spiritual connections. And that's how important our plants are. And so when we moved out west, our floral designs disappeared. New trade items were introduced. And so, you know, beads first arrived in North America in 1540 as trade beads, trade items. And so we never had glass beads. Our beads were made out of bones and shells and rocks and wood. And so those are our beads. They're all natural. Whatever we found in the natural setting is what we made beads out of. And so when this glass bead made its way here, we're just like, oh my gosh. And then the chevron trade beads came out. And then these beads were introduced in early 1800s. And so they made their ways to the plains around 1840. And you see this transition of our adornment from our quill work to incorporating our pony beads, first of all, trade beads, and then the seed beads after 1840 or so. And you can see this in our clothing and our dresses specific. And so our old style dresses, they were called a side fold dress. It just folds down, hangs on the proper left, has two straps on both shoulders, a strap on each shoulder, and then it evolved into what they call the two-hided dress. So you have a big hide here and here, come together, you sew up on the shoulder, down the arm, you leave the underarm open because it got really hot here, but you also needed to breastfeed the babies. So a lot of our dresses were open all the way down to about here to help feed and take care of our little ones. And so that's how important our attire is. And then after 1840 plus, the three-hided dress came to us. The top part looks like a poncho. It's a huge hide cut out with a round oval shape for our head to slip over. And you would have a hide in the front, a hide in the back. And then by that time, we had a lot of time available to us because there were no more buffaloes. We were placed on reservations. And so the complexity of our beadwork had an explosion because now they were bringing us annuities, food. We didn't have to search because we weren't allowed to search. We were restricted on reservation land. And so we could no longer wander like we did before. And so when I say wander, we did this very systematically. There was an importance of us migrating. We knew different sites of contamination of the grounds, our overusage of the firewood, and so also the overusage of the abundance of grass for our horses. So we knew that we would have to move to the next camp. But we also have to follow the buffalo. And that was a huge factor for us. And so we would have poles hidden throughout the country in different hunting sites, so we didn't have to haul a lot of our poles, because we didn't receive the horse. As luck with us, we didn't receive the horse until after 1710. Prior to that, the Umahas had the horses way before we did. Our Dakota relatives are actually the ones that captured that horse from the Umahas in this region. And so we picked that up from our relatives. And so once again, this is the importance of the symbology and the design. But once again, when you look at these designs and you place them together, here's your teepee. Same with this side. You put these two together and it acknowledges our lodges. And so that's how important this is. And so we understand the symmetry that exists, because we try to incorporate this way of life into our way of life. We have to live in balance culturally, spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally. And so when the United States came over, when reservations were created, when boarding schools were created, it took that balance. It took away that spiritual connection away from us. It took away our cultural identity. And so that has had a devastating effect that still exists today, because we're not living in balance. And that's how rough that is. And so once again, when you look at our designs, it explains the symmetry that exists, because we should live in balance.